What's up, everybody? And welcome to another edition of High Mythology.
What's up?
Yeah, the show where we're still higher than a peacock in flight. Just a majestic peacock flying into the sun. Purple. Green. Little spots on its tail. Yeah, and we tell you guys silly stories of mythology and folklore. As you can tell, emphasis on the high part today. Yeah. Hello. Hi. How's it going?
Very much so.
Hi? Yes. Tonight we'll be bringing you part 2 of Italian Bitches.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I don't even bother to give you an actual title.
No title. It's just Italian Bitches.
Italian Bitch. That's right.
Go ahead, Kim. Take it away.
We'll start with the King of Peacocks.
The King of Peacocks. Yes. The majestic. That's not what they sound like. They say peacocks have the most horrible sound. It's like someone being murdered.
Yeah, make sure those things are fucking happy and clear the fuck away from me.
What a majestic bird when it shuts the fuck up. Yeah.
Sounds like someone else I know. I'm just kidding.
Hey, I'm not a bird.
Okay. A king and a queen had 2 sons and a little girl who was the apple of their eye.
Tasty. Apple.
Candy.
Eye
candy.
The green-flavored starburst.
The Peachos.
She's the Peachos.
They always gave her all their love and even had a nursemaid just for her in the palace. Woo.
Fancy.
Fresh titty milk.
Fresh titty milk for all.
Now the king was taken sick one day and died. Wow.
Where's our? Yep. R.I.P. to the king who didn't last through the first 4 minutes of the story.
I know, right? Poor guy.
Poor guy.
The queen looked after the kingdom for a while afterwards, but then she too fell ill. And at death's door, you're gonna. At death's door, she entrusted her 2 sons with the care of their little sister. After which she drew her last breath and died. In the meantime, the little girl had grown up without ever leaving the palace. Her sole pastimes were gazing out the window at the countryside, singing softly, chatting with the nursemaid who was now her governess, and embroidering. Simple shit that rich white people.
She did all the upper middle class white woman activities. Yoga.
Braiding her hair. One day, as she stood at the window, a peacock emerged from the woods, flew up, and lit on the window ledge. The girl made a big to-do over him, serving him birdseed and inviting him inside. She exclaimed,
"How handsome he is! Till I found the king of peacocks, I will not marry."
She kept the peacock with her at all times, but shut him up in the wardrobe whenever anyone came in. It wasn't long before her brothers remarked to one another,
"I'm pretty sure our sister is killing people in there. I hear screaming all the time. Our dear little sister never wants to go out of the house. If that continues, she will be in a bad way. Let's see if she wishes for a husband."
They went to her and made known their thoughts, saying,
"As long as you are unmarried, we will not get married ourselves. Do you feel like taking a husband?"
She says,
No.
They say,
"You just think you don't. Look at these portraits here. All the kings. Pick out the one you like, and I'll ask him if he wants you."
She says,
No.
They say,
"For God's sakes, man, woman, girl, child, will you make a choice?"
She says,
Okay. I will, but the choice must be mine.
they say.
Of course.
At that, the sister opened the wardrobe and brought out the peacock and says,
See this?
they say.
Oh my God, yes. Thank God it's a peacock. I thought you were a murderer.
She
It's a very sexy peacock, too. Look at that fucking tail.
Visit her later.
Hello.
She says.
I'll not marry till I find the king of peacocks.
They say.
That's a made-up thing. Where is he?
She says.
I don't know. But I'll only marry him.
They say.
In that case, we'll try to find him.
They entrusted the girl to her governess, chose a reliable governor to look after the kingdom, and each went their separate ways in search of the king of peacocks. They asked all around, but no one had ever heard of the king, and took them for fools.
Have you seen the king of peacocks? No, I haven't.
But the two youths did not give up hope and continued their search. One evening, the older boy met an old man who was part sorcerer. He asked,
He's part sorcerer. I'm half Italian and a quarter sorcerer on my mom's side. Tell me, is there a king of peacocks?
the old man says.
Well, there certainly is.
The youth asks.
There. What is he like? Where does he live?
The old man says.
Well, he's a handsome youth who dresses like a peacock. Peru is his kingdom, and to see him, you'll have to go there.
The youth thanked and rewarded the man and then headed for Peru. After traveling a great distance, he entered a meadow planted with strange trees, and all around him the voices said, "Hello, sir." There he is.
Who's that? I swear.
There he is.
What? Hey, cut that out.
He's come to offer his sister in marriage.
Oh, now I gotta poop.
Make way for him.
Make way.
The youth glanced about, but still saw nothing but a flutter of brightly colored feathers in the air. He asked,
Where am I?
The voices answered, "In Peru. In the realm of the king of the peacocks."
The Peking?
The Peking.
The Cock King? It's either Peking or King Cock. I don't know which one I like better.
He goes by both.
He goes by both. Peking,
Okay.
the King Cock.
The youth asks.
Yeah. Would you please tell me where he is?
The voices say, "With great pleasure." Go to the right and you'll come to a beautiful palace. Say to the gods, royal secret, and they will let you in. These trees are very courteous, thought the youth.
These trees are very nice. Very thoughtful, very courteous.
But sorcery is surely afoot here.
Uh-huh.
He walked on, coming to a palace adorned with blue, white, and violet peacocks. Their feathers gleamed in the sun like gold. The front door was flanked by guards dressed as peacocks, and you really couldn't tell whether they were men or birds. The youth says,
Just imagine just two armed guards in peacock suits, looking like mascots. Oh,
I was
those
thinking
birds
about like
are
that
men.
Halloween costume with the inflatable flamingo, but it's a peacock.
It's a peacock. Royal secret.
And they let him in. In the middle of the hall stood a throne of precious stones with an aureole of peacock feathers whose eyes sparkle like stars.
Bing.
On the throne sat the king, dressed from head to foot in feathers and indistinguishable from a bird. The youth bowed, and at the signal from the king, all the courtiers left the room. The king says,
Speak now, I am listening.
The youth began,
Oh, you can see me behind my feathers. Lord, I am the King of Portugal. Never would have guessed that. I have come to ask if you will accept my little sister in marriage. Well, pardon my boldness, but my sister has resolved to wed no one but the King of Peacocks.
The king says.
Do you have a picture of her? Maybe some news?
The youth says.
The king's response, send nudes. Well, here it is.
The king says.
Hot damn. She's like a Playboy rabbit.
She's like 8. You sick fuck. I'm just kidding.
She's like an 8-year-old rabbit.
You made her sound so young.
Fuck yes, I'll marry her.
He says.
Ooh, hey.
The youth.
Majesty, thank you. My sister will be delighted that we all are.
He bowed and proceeded to leave when the king ordered.
Stop! Where are you going?
The youth says.
To fetch her, your master.
The king says.
Oh, no. No, I'm not going to let you leave. Whoever enters the kingdom of the peacocks can no longer leave it. You are a stranger to me. For all I know, you could be a spy for an enemy king. Maybe a Portuguese one. That's the first I'm hearing of that. Or a thief aiming to rob me. Instead, write a letter home and send my dick portrait and wait for an answer.
This is the first ever.
Also, I will now be feathering you, so get naked.
The youth replied.
I never get naked.
I'm a never dude.
Oh, no, never mind. I will do just that. Where will I lodge it while I'm waiting for the answer? I'll let you lodge it right over here.
At a signal from the king, guards entered and seized the youth by the man by the arms. Seized the young man by the arms. Wow, I don't know where I got that. The king says.
Now I'm imagining all the guards in inflatable peacock costumes.
Awesome.
These guys are ex-military. They're real hot. You wouldn't guess it by that fluffy peacock costume.
Funny. Let's fuck some people.
You will wait in prison, where you'll be the one getting lodged in. Ho-ho.
In the meantime,
I always keep a rim shot ready.
In the meantime, the second brother had returned home after a fruitless search. When the letter came from Peru, he ran to his sister with the portrait of the King of Peacocks.
The King of Cocks.
The girl says,
No! Oh, not my bridegroom. Exactly the one I wanted. Girthy, too. Let's make haste and leave. I can hardly wait to see him in person.
They started packing up the trousseau, prepared the luggage and the horses, and ordered the finest ship for the whole fleet. The brother explained to the nursemaid, saying,
To reach Peru, we have to cross the sea. How can we protect my sister against wind dampness and bright sunlight? She's awfully pale and really susceptible to the damp winds.
The nursemaid says, Oh, that's simple. Drive her to the shore in a carriage, bring up the ship real close to the land, and roll the carriage up on the gangplank. That way she can make the crossing comfortably inside her carriage without getting in the wind or spoiled her bridal gown. The plan was adopted. Now the nursemaid had a daughter as ugly as a demon, who was envious and wicked to boot. Upon learning that the princess was going off to be married, she began whimpering and crying to her mother, saying,
she's getting married and I'm not. She's getting a king and I'm getting nothing. Like, all eyes will be on her and, like, no one will even look at me.
The nursemaid said, True. That occurred to me too. And she began dreaming of a scheme to marry her daughter instead of the princess to the king. After some hard thinking, she came up with a plan. She ordered her daughter a carriage and the wedding dress exactly like the princess's, and said to the captain of the ship, "Here are 2,000,000. Just for you. Now listen to what you are to do. In the last carriage that comes aboard sits my daughter. At night, when everybody is sleeping, take the princess and throw her into the sea, and then put my daughter in her place." The captain was afraid to consent, but 2,000,000 was a fortune. And he thought, when I have it in my pocket, I can flee this fucking shithole. Yeah. Fuck yes. Okay. So he haggled a bit over the amount and then agreed to do the deed. He ended up with like 2.5.
2.5. Yeah. He's like, it's fine. I'm just going to move to Thailand.
There's no way a fucking nursemaid has this kind of money. She probably stole it from the fucking kingdom.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of ruples.
That was part of the dowry, bitch.
It's that dowry, bitch. Back up on my dowry, bitch. Yeah.
When time came to depart, all the carriages were lined up side by side on the ship. But at the last minute, the princess started crying for her little dog, saying,
"Oh, this dampness, it's really gotten to my throat. He's been my companion for so long, I just can't go off and leave him."
So her brother ran ashore, picked up the dog, and brought him into the carriage. The little dog cuddled up on the mattress, and the ship set sail. At nightfall, the nursemaid went to the bride's carriage and told her, "The weather is good. A favorable wind is blowing, and we'll be in Peru by tomorrow. Go to sleep and get your rest." A princess fell asleep, dreaming of the king of the peacocks, and a grand welcome she would receive upon her arrival. At midnight, the captain opened the carriage door, picked up the mattress with the princess and the dog on it, and threw it into the sea. Nearby, the nursemaid's daughter waited in the shadow, and the captain put her into the bride's carriage. Falling, the princess woke up and found herself in the middle of the sea, while the ship continued on its way out of sight. But the mattress, as light as a feather, floated instead of sinking. A gentle wind arose and swept it right to Peru with the girl on it, in her wedding gown, and her dog at her side.
Lucky.
Towards daybreak, a sailor of Peru, whose house was by the sea, heard a dog barking in the distance. He asked his wife,
"Hark, do you hear that dog barking out yonder in the distance?"
His wife says, "I thought I could smell French toast. I thought I was having a fucking seizure. Yes, I hear it too. Go see what it is." He says,
I thought so too.
Scrambled eggs.
Yeah, smelling scrambled eggs and toast, something fierce. Also, I don't normally talk like this. It just, something about that dog. I'll just go outside and take a look.
Come back with a different voice.
Hi, hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, oh, wow, that was weird. Anyone else feel weird?
He dressed, picked up a harpoon, and went out onto the shore. And there, in the dawn, he saw something floating along briskly and accompanied by barking. As it came closer, the sailor stepped into the water and reached out with his harpoon and drew the raft to him. Imagine his surprise on beholding a girl asleep in a wedding dress and a little dog making such a fuss. He brought her to shore very gently as to not waken her, but she stirred and asked,
"Where am I and who are you?"
He says,
"You've landed at the house of a poor but kind-hearted sailor and his wife. Come and stay with us."
At that hour, the accursed, hideous girl was arriving in Peru, shut up in her carriage.
Shut up.
When the procession reached the meadows of strange trees, a clamoring went up on all sides. The tree said, "Cuckoo, what a nice soul, that queen of Peru." Okay. And in the air swirled thousands of peacock feathers. The brother who had accompanied her on the voyage rode up on horseback, and at that sound of those cries, coming from no telling where, his heart stood still. He said to himself,
This is a bad sign. Something will surely happen to us.
He ran to the carriage, opened the door, and was stunned by the sight of the hideous girl. He asked,
What the fuck happened to you? How did you become so ugly? Was it the sea wind? The dampness did it, didn't it? It's that damn dampness. It's all those Virginia Slim cigarettes you've been smoking and the vodka tonics.
She says,
how should I know what it was?
He says,
Here's the king. Now everybody's head will roll.
In the middle of the band of feathers-clad soldiers appeared, and the king of the peacocks. The soldiers raised long gold trumpets and blew a flourish as the trees cried, "Long live the king! Long live the king! The bride is a homely thing." And the air was so thick
sick
with
burn
swirling,
trees, sick burn.
and the air was so thick with swirling feathers that it looked like fog. The king asked,
Where is my bride?
The brother says.
Here she is, my lord.
The king says,
This isn't, she looks a lot different than the pictures. This a beautiful maiden whose praises, everyone said she was much hotter.
He says,
What did you expect, Majesty? It must be the fault of the wind and the sea breeze. The dampness really gets to her.
The king says,
Is she drinking vodka out of a shoe right now?
I'm pretty sure that's a fucking person.
Yeah. Oh, what a wind! What a sea! Oh, that's insane. I didn't think you could do that. Not. Shut up, imposters. You intended to cheat me. But you'll learn that the king of peacocks is so not easily deceived. Take them to the prison and prepare the peacock gallows for them each.
And at that, the king of peacocks walked away scowling.
Oh, scowl.
He was out of sorts, and not only because of the insult, but especially because of his love for the beautiful maiden, whose
so
picture
hot
he
in the
wore
picture.
around his neck and never tired of admiring it.
I never tire. I mean, my arm gets crampy a little, but...
Let's leave the king and those unfortunate prisoners and go back to the beautiful princess in the home of the poor sailor. The next morning, she asked the sailor's wife,
Oh, hey there. Do you happen to have a little basket, or perhaps a cigarette?
She says, Why, yes, madam, and hands her a basket. Sorry. And then hands her a basket.
Hands her
Sorry.
a basket. Yee-hoo.
She called the dog and said,
Okay, dog friend of mine, let's take care of dinner tonight. Go to the king's and get our dinner.
Holding the basket handle in his mouth, the little dog ran to the king's kitchen, picked up a roasted chicken, thrusted it into the basket, and went flying back to his mistress. They ate a good dinner that day in the sailor's house, and even the dog had his share of bones to gnaw on. The next day, the dog returned to the king's kitchen with a basket and made off with a huge fish. This time, the cook went and told the king, who ordered him to catch the dog the next time, or at least find out where he went. So when the dog ran off with the leg of lamb on the next day, the cook followed him and saw him enter a sailor's house. He returned and told the king. The king declared,
Oh, that's it. I'm done. He stole my lamb. I'll go after the little son of a bitch myself tomorrow. Or could I be the laughing stock of everybody?
The next morning, as soon as the dog had left with the little basket, the princess put on her bridal gown and sat down in her room to wait.
He's covered in peacock feathers. He's a man. He's a grown man walking around covered in Oh, well, stealing my food will make people laugh at me. Sure, Your Majesty. That's why
people.
they'll be laughing at you.
She said to the sailor and his wife,
If someone comes looking for the dog, send them back to me. I will
wasn't-
fight a grown man if I have to.
It wasn't long before the dog was back home with dinner in the basket.
In the basket.
And right behind him ran the king with 2 peacock soldiers. and flotation device.
Hup.
Raise your knees, soldier.
I was a Marine for 13 years before this.
The king asked.
Have you seen a dog?
The sailor said.
Yes, Majesty.
The king says.
Well, why is he always stealing my fucking dinner? That's really not cool, man.
The sailor says.
Oh, he doesn't have his own free will to provide us with something neat.
That's
We
not your
never
sailor
had
voice. What are you doing?
Yes. I bounced back from me stroke for a minute. I told you that's not how I normally talk. We'll shim-shammy some shims around here.
The king asks.
Well, where the fuck did you get that dog? He looks awfully familiar.
The sailor says.
Arg, he's not ours. He belongs to a bride who is here with us.
The king says.
I want to see her.
The sailor says.
Come in, Majesty. If you'll excuse us. This is a house of poor folk.
They brought him in, and there before him was the maiden of the picture, dressed as a bride. She says,
Oh, hey there, how's it going? I'm the daughter of the King of Portugal, and you, my lord, have my brothers in prison. You want to fight?
The king of Peacock says.
Oh, can it be?
She says.
Look, you son of a bitch, here's the portrait of your dick that you sent to me. Unsolicited dick pics don't normally work, but in this situation, I'm really into it. I've always worn it close to my heart.
The king says.
Well, I can make heads or tails of all of this. Wait for me here. I'll be right back.
Give me a pack of Virginia Slims.
Give me a pack of Virginia Slims while you're out.
Off he went.
2 scratches, $2 scratch off.
Off he went like an arrow. He reached the palace and released the 2 brothers from prison. He says,
Your sister has been found. You're back in my esteem. But tell me how everything happened.
They say,
We're just as much in the dark as you. The more we think about it, the less we understand.
The king then called the nursemaid and her daughter and threatened them and was informed of their entire scheme. He had them thrown into prison where the 2 brothers had been, armed all the soldiers, donned his finest feathers, and accompanied by a band, marched off to the head of his army to the poor mariner's house to fetch his bride. All the trees cried, yes, indeed, this is the queen we heed. And millions of feathers filled the air and blotted out the sunlight.
And for 1,000 years it remained dark.
Jesus, fuck.
That was when the peacocks took over the world.
When they arrived at the palace, the wedding was celebrated and followed by a grand banquet. Bouquet. The nursemaid and her accursedly ugly daughter were hanged on the gallows that had been readied for the brothers. They were never able to catch the captain of the ship since he had fled to the end of the earth to enjoy his $2.5 million.
Okay, dude.
This is in Siena, Italy.
Siena.
Siena.
And Peru. Parts of it took place in Peru.
This is a story from Siena.
Mm-hmm. But they went to Peru.
And they banged
Get
in
married
Portugal.
to Bank of Peacock.
Story number 2.
Story number 2.
The Palace of the Doomed Queen.
Dum, dum, dum.
In bygone days, there lived an old widow who earned her bread by spinning. She had 3 daughters who were also spinners.
Sick DJs.
6 DJs.
Yeah.
Although they toiled day and night at their spinning wheels, the 3 spinners could never lay up a cent, as they earned barely enough for their daily needs. One day, the old woman got sick and ran a high fever, and 3 days later, she was near her death. Calling her tearful daughters around her, she says, "Don't weep. Nobody lives forever. I've lived a long life, and now it's my turn to die. What really breaks my heart is to leave you so poor. But since you know how to earn your living, You will manage somehow. And I'll beg heaven to come help you. And all I have to leave you as a dowry are those 3 balls of spun hemp in the cabinet. Don't smoke it all at once.
Don't smoke it all at once.
And after those words, she drew her last breath and died.
You guys suck.
A few days later, the sisters got to talking. They said,
This Sunday will be Easter Sunday, and here we are with nothing for a decent Easter dinner.
Mary, the older sister, suggested,
I'll sell my ball of thread and this bag of heroin, and then I'll buy some dinner.
So on Easter morning, she took her thread to the market. It was an excellent thread and brought a godly sum, with which Mary bought bread, a leg of lamb, and a bottle of wine.
Yeah,
she was on her way home with them when a dog rushed up behind her, seized the leg of lamb and the bread, and broke the bottle, and then fucking booked it, nearly scaring the poor girl to death.
Well, that's my luck.
When she got home, she told her sisters what had happened, and that day they had to be content with just a few crusts of brown bread. Rose, the middle girl, announced,
I will go to market tomorrow, and we'll just see if the dog dares to give me any trouble.
She went, sold her ball of thread, bought giblets, bread, wine, and headed for home by a different road. Lo and behold, the dog ran after her too, grabbed the giblets, the bread, and broke the bottle and fled. Rose, bolder than Mary by far, ran after him, but he was far too fast for her, and she went home all out of breath and told her sisters of what had happened. So for the 2nd day in a row, they feasted on brown bread crumbs. Nina, the youngest, announced,
It's just so fucked up because so far it's so realistic of a story. Like, yeah, dude, 2 days in a row, that same dog just comes
Different
up and
fucking road.
Yeah. Like the fucking Rick and Morty. It took my unemployment check. Tomorrow it's my turn to go to the market, and we'll just see if the dog pulls the same shit on me. I'll kill a bitch.
You choke a bitch.
I'll choke a bitch.
There you go. Next morning, she left the house much earlier than her sisters had on the preceding days. Took her ball of thread to market, sold it, and bought provisions aplenty. As she was walking home by another road, she up rushed the dog, broke the bottle, and made off with everything else. Nina struck out after him and chased him all the way up to a palace,
I'll fucking catch you, bitch.
into which he disappeared. She said to herself,
If I meet anyone inside, I'll tell them about the dog running away with our dinner for the last 3 days, and I'll make it pay me for all the food we've lost. I'll straight cut a bitch.
Then she entered the palace. She came to a fine kitchen with the fire burning brightly and things cooking over the pots, in pots and pans. Roasting on the spit was the leg of lamb. Lifting the lid of the pot, Nina saw meat stewing, which she bought only a little while ago. And there was another pan. There were giblets. She opened a cupboard, and behold, there was 3 loaves of bread.
3 fucking loaves.
She moved on through the house without meeting a living soul, but the table in the dining room was set for 3 persons. They seemed to have cooked dinner just for us, thought Nina, and with our own food. If my sisters were here, I'd sit them down at the table right away. At that moment, she heard a cart going down the street. And looking out the window, she recognized its driver and asked him to tell her sisters that she was waiting for them there, where a fine dinner was all ready to be served. When the sisters arrived, ding ding,
Ding ding.
Nina told them what had happened, and she said,
Let's sit down and eat these fuckers' food. The occupants come home. We'll simply say we were only eating our own food. And then I'll fucking cut them.
The sisters were not so bold, but being quite hungry by this time, they finally took their places at the table. It had grown dark, and the 3 girls suddenly saw the windows close and the lamps light up. They were still marveling over it, when in came the dinner and arranged itself before them. Nina says,
We thank whoever's serving us and sparing us the trouble of going out and getting dinner ourselves. And now, sisters, let us begin. The blood ritual.
She urged and bit into the lamb. Paralyzed with fear, the sisters could scarcely eat and spent the whole time glancing about them, expecting any minute to see some monster rush in. But Nina said,
They're not scared of monsters, they're scared of Nina.
They are.
She's just sitting there unblinking with a knife in her hand, eating bloody lamb.
Yeah, right.
If they didn't want us here for dinner, they shouldn't have cooked it all for us. Lit the lamps and served the table and left their door unlocked.
After dinner, they were soon sleepy, so Nina led them through the house until they came to a bedchamber with 3 nice beds all turned down. She proposed,
Let's go to bed now. Let's sleep in their house.
The sister said.
No, let's go home. It's very scary to sleep in a stranger's bed when they're like serving you food and stuff. This is getting really weird, Nina.
Nina snapped.
You fucking ninnies! We're comfortable here. And you want to leave? I'm going to bed. Come what may. I'll fucking cut somebody.
She'd no sooner persuaded them to remain there than a voice was heard at the bottom of the stairwell. Nina. Psst, Nina. Come light my way.
Come light my way.
The sisters were terrified, they said.
Merciful heavens, who the fuck is that? Don't go down there, Nina. That's very strange. It sounded like Bill Cosby.
Nina put her foot down and says,
I fucking do what I want to do.
She picked up the lamp and went down the steps, and she found herself in a room where a queen was chained and darting flames from around her mouth, ears, and nose. The queen speaks amid the flames. Listen, psst, Nina.
Hey, yo, Nina.
Would you like a fortune? Nina says,
Fuck yeah.
The queen says, psst, psst. Got some hair in my mouth.
Well, can't you just burn it away with your fire?
It's fucking demon hellhound fur.
Demon hair.
I'm a fucking groomer down here. I gotta groom these fucking dogs, you know. All right. Psst, Nina, psst, listen, pay attention. You're gonna need the help of all your sisters as well. You got that? Nina says.
I'll tell them.
Queen says, psst, a little closer. There'll be awful things that you have to do, mind you. And if you get scared, you die. You die. Psst, you got that? Nina says,
You should be afraid of dying.
Bitch, I got flames coming out my mouth.
I'll persuade them to do what must be done. Don't worry, me and Mr. Kniferson will.
His name is Clarence.
Clarence Kniferson.
Yeah, well, I spit fire, bitch. I'm practically a fucking dragon.
Well, I'm a sick DJ. Maybe we should team up. You spit fire, I spin.
Have you ever seen those people that hang from the ceilings with like hooks in their back? I believe that this is one of them.
And Nina's not at all scared.
Not at all, no. Nina says,
Swear you'll help me, or heaven help you.
No, the one before that.
Oh, I already said that. I'll persuade them to do what must be done.
Oh.
Using my knife. Clarence M. Kniferson.
Queen says, cool.
Cool.
Open these the 3 chests right there. See those? Go grab them. They're full of the queen's robes. Gilded and bejeweled, bitch. And when I was the queen of Spain, mind you, I fell in love with a young man of this town. Juicy.
Juicy.
I fell in love with a man. I can't help it. Because of him, I'm in hell.
Yeah.
I'm roasting. That motherfucker burned me.
Burned.
Now, after all the wrong he's done to me, he intends to marry another woman. That bitch, she's gonna go down too. You best believe. But I want to see him suffer in hell with me, which is only fair. Only fair. Today, put on my robe. Arrange your hair exactly like mine. You see this shit? Tight curls, not loose, wavy fucking bullshit. Tight curls. Go help your sisters. Tell them to go and fucking help you and go put those iron nets back up in your hair. We gotta wrap it. We gotta fucking fold it. We gotta fucking make it tight. Tight curls.
Tight curls.
I'm talking about Jewish tight curls.
Sit it down.
And then lean on the balcony up there, bitch. With the book in your mouth, hand. You have to look like
with a book in your mouth. You have to look intelligent. So I want you to bite down on a book. That way you'll think you know stuff. Oh, look at her. She's got a book in her mouth. She must read.
She likes to eat her knowledge.
Yeah.
She really ingests it.
She really ingests it. Wow.
All right, so when that bitch come by, some certain time, a young man will come by and say, "Madam, may I call upon you?" You say yes. Invite him in for some coffee, a hand job. I don't fucking care.
A coffee hand job.
Then you
All
give
the
him
kids
this.
are doing it.
You give him this poison cup, and when he drops dead, bring him down here and open this chest. Throw him in it. Throw the whole body in it, and then light the 4 candles around him. By the way, I was rich.
That's an extra hot Cosby.
Here's a list of like all the assets which you can reclaim from my stewards who stole everything I own.
Reclaim it.
Mm-hmm. There's a deed to all of it. Boom. You got it.
Boom.
Nina went back upstairs and related everything to her sisters and
Quite
said...
a bit of information.
I know.
Swear you'll help me, or heaven help you. I will cut somebody.
The next morning, she dressed up and looked exactly like the dead queen, tight curls and all, and went out to the balcony with a book in her mouth. Soon afterwards, hoofbeats were soon heard, and a young man rode up and stopped to look at her. Nina nodded in greeting, and he asked,
"Hey, baby, I'll get you pregnant and never call you again."
Nina says.
Okay.
The young man dismounted and climbed the steps of the palace. She says,
"Okay, but first, let's have some coffee for the energy you'll need to keep up."
The man said.
Bruh. With pleasure.
He drank from the poison cup and dropped dead. Nina called her sisters to help carry the body downstairs, but they refused, and she said,
"If you don't help me, I'll kill you myself, bitches."
She grabbed him by the head while her sisters caught hold of his feet, and they went downstairs to the closed chest surrounded by 4 candles. The sisters shuddered and wanted to drop the body and flee, and Nina says,
"Clarence Kniferson's getting thirsty, so you bitches better keep working."
The sisters knew better than to defy her and remained right there.
She licked her blade while she was staring at me.
Nina opened the chest, and in it sat the queen on the throne of flames. They poured her beloved beside her, and she took him by the hand and said, "Come with me to hell, you wicked boy. That way you won't leave me again." With a great din, the trunk slammed and sank out of sight. Nina revived her sisters who had fainted and led them back upstairs to recover from shock. They then retrieved all the wealth in the hands of the stewards and became the richest girls in the world. A few years later, the sisters got married, and Nina gave them each a dowry fit for a princess. And then finally, she too got married and lived happily ever after like a queen.
Oh, so happily. Oddly, though, people started going missing in her kingdom pretty regularly. And Clarence Kniferson never went thirsty again.
Just give it to the mad woman. All right, last story. You ready for this one?
Dum 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 dum.
Oh, I guess we're gonna have to make time for it.
Yeah.
It's called Monkey Palace.
Monkey Palace.
Once there was a king who had twin sons, John and Anthony. As he was not quite sure which of the two were born first, as they were twins, no one, not even the court itself, no one had fucking any say. Nobody. The king could not say who was to be crowned prince. He told the boys,
To be completely fair to you both, yeah, I want you guys to go out into the world and do some stuff. Maybe live a little, you know? If you're going to be ruling a kingdom, maybe you should know something about life. Go out and get married. Seek a wife. The one whose bride presents me with a rarer gift, I guess I'll name them Crown Prince. I don't know. Well, fuck it, why not? Bring me a peacock.
The twins mounted their horses and galloped off, one in one direction and the other in the opposite. 2 days later, John came to a large city. There he made friends with the Marquis's daughter and told her about his father's proposal. As her gift, she gave him a tiny sealed box to take to the king, and the young people announced their engagement. The king accepted the tiny box and put off opening it until he should also have Anthony's bride's present. Anthony rode and rode, but never reached any city. He found himself in a dense, pathless, seemingly endless forest, through which he had to cut his way with a sword. Hacha.
Hacha!
All at once he came to a clearing, at whose end rose a solid marble palace with glittering window panes. Anthony knocked, and who should answer the door? But a monkey in steward's livery. It bowed to Anthony and motioned him into the palace. 2 other monkeys helped him dismount and led his horse to the stable. He proceeded up the carpeted marble staircase past monkeys galore sitting on the balcony and silently bowing to him.
Monkeys galore.
Anthony walked into a hall where a table had been set up for a game of bridge. One monkey offered him a chair at the end of the table as 3 other monkeys took the remaining places, and the game began. After a while, they asked by signs if he was ready to dine. They led him to the dining room where monkeys in plumed hats sat at a scrumptiously laid table waited on by monkeys in aprons. And after dinner, they picked up torches and lighted him to his bedchamber, where they left him for the night.
it's like a very vivid acid trip. I went into a fucking castle, man. Like, everyone was monkeys, but not just like everyone was monkeys. Like, everyone, bro. Like, the monkeys had monkey bosses, and they had, like, monkey jobs. Someone was doing their monkey taxes, man. It blew my fucking mind.
Although puzzled and uneasy, Anthony was so tired that he fell asleep at once. But just when he was sleeping his soundest, a voice in the dark awakened him, saying,
"Tony!"
he asked, huddled beneath the covers.
"Oh, hey there, who's calling me at this hour?" the
voice says.
"Oh, Tony! What have you come here thinking, Tony?"
Anthony says.
"Oh, yeah, well, I'm seeking a bride here who will give the king a finer present than my brother John Boy's bride will, you know. That way I'll be named and crowned the prince there." The voice in the dark says. "Okay, Tony, if you agree to marry me, I'll get you a finer gift than a crown."
Anthony scarcely says above a whisper.
"Okay, there, yeah, let's get married then,"
the voice says.
"Okay, very well, Tony. Send a letter to your father tomorrow."
The next day, Anthony wrote his father, and he was in good health, and would soon be home with his bride. He entrusted the letter to a monkey, which jumped from the tree to tree and wound up in the royal city. Although surprised by the unusual messenger, the king was very happy over the good tidings and offered the monkey hospitality at the palace.
It's not that I'm surprised that he was a monkey, or I'm surprised that he had a message. I'm surprised by the fact that he was in full postal worker garb. There was even a little monkey postal company slogan.
The next night, Anthony was again woken by the voice in the dark asking,
yeah. "Hey, Tony! Tony, are you still of the same mind, Tony? Do you still want to get married, Tony?"
Anthony says.
Oh, yeah there. I certainly am, though. I was kind of just sleeping, though, and you interrupted me with your voice there. It's kind of a little screechy, and whatnot.
The voice says.
Oh, well, Tony, get used to it. It's gonna be in your ear every night for the rest of your life. Very well. Send for your father. Send him a letter tomorrow. I want to meet your dad.
The next day, Anthony again wrote his letter to his father that he was in good health and sent a letter off by a monkey. The king took this monkey also into the palace. And thus every night the voice asked Anthony if he had changed his mind and told him to write to his father. While every morning...
She came up in the middle of the night, every night. Oh, yeah, finally, going here, ready to sleep, nice and comfortable. Tony! I've told you before, I prefer Anthony. Yeah.
Well, every morning a monkey left with the letter for the king. That went on for a month. And the royal city was now full of monkeys. They swarmed in the trees and on the rooftops and over all the monuments. Shoemakers hammered heels onto shoes while monkeys sat on their shoulders and mimicked them. Surgeons performed operations as monkeys and looked on and made off with the scalpels and thread for cutting open the stitching up of patients.
It's not that I'm mad that the monkeys have their own alley with their own businesses and whatnot, but I'm mad that their economy is more successful than ours. Yeah.
Ladies went walking with monkeys perched on their parasols, and the king no longer knew what to do. At the end of the month, the voice in the dark said at last,
Tony! Tomorrow, Tony, we'll go to the king together. We'll get married, Tony.
In the morning, when Anthony went downstairs, a handsome carriage was waiting at the door with a monkey coachman on the box and 2 monkey footmen hanging onto the back. And who should be sitting inside the coach on a velvet cushion and wearing many jewels and an elaborate coiffure of sweeping ostrich plumes, but a monkey? Anthony seated himself at her side, and off they drove. When the couple arrived in the royal city, all the people pressed against the strange carriage, and to their utter amazement discovered that Prince Anthony's bride was a monkey. All eyes turned to the king, who awaited his son on the palace doorstep to see how he would react. But the king lacked no backbone. He didn't bat an eye, as though marrying a monkey were the most normal thing in the world. He merely said,
I once fucked an ostrich, so young kids will be young, right? He chose her, so now he has to marry her. I don't fuck around, so no king goes back on his word and whatnot.
From the monkey's hand, the king took a tiny sealed box, exactly like her sister-in-law's. The box were to be opened tomorrow, the day of the wedding. The monkey was shown to her room, where she requested to be left alone.
What do you tip the monkey driver with? Monkey coins?
Bananas.
They have their own currency. Yeah.
Banana coins.
Yeah, banana coins. Yeah. Yeah, they're only into crypto.
The next day, Anthony went for his bride. When he entered her room, the monkey was standing before the mirror trying on her wedding dress. And she asked, while turning around,
Tony! How do I look, Tony?
Anthony was speechless. She was no longer a monkey, but a tall and graceful maiden with blonde hair and rosy cheeks, whom it was a real joy to behold. Anthony rubbed his eyes, unable to believe what he saw, but she said,
You are looking at none other than your bride, Tony.
And at that they fell into each other's arms. Outside the palace, all the people had gathered to see Prince Anthony and his monkey bride. When he emerged instead with that beautiful maiden, their mouths flew open, and they could only gape with admiration. Beyond the palace, monkeys flanked the streets and filled all the streets and rooftops and windowsills. When the royal couple passed, every monkey wheeled around was instantly changed into a human being.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's business stuff. Yeah.
Some became ladies in long trailing cloaks, others cavaliers with plumed hats and sabers, and the rest friars, farmers, and pages. They all moved in procession behind the couple going to be married. The king opened the tiny boxes containing the presents, and out of the box of John's bride flew a live baby bird, and everyone marveled at it and stayed alive closed up for so long. In its beak the bird clutched a walnut, which inside laid a tassel of gold. That's John's bride.
Oh. Well, I never go back on my word, so you're either fucking the bird or you're fucking the walnut, John.
The king opened the box from Anthony's wife. It too contained a live baby bird, which, of all things, was holding a lizard. And in the lizard's mouth was a hazelnut. The king cracked it open and beheld a carefully folded lace tablecloth embroidered by 100 hands. Don't know what the fuck that means.
100 people worked on it.
To John's dismay, the king was
50.
about to proclaim Anthony crown prince when Anthony's bride said,
Tony doesn't need his father's kingdom, since I'm giving him my monkey kingdom as my dowry. By marrying me, he is free to thaw from the spell that made us monkeys of a thaw. Thanks, Tony.
Then all the monkeys, newly changed into humans, began hailing Anthony as their king. John inherited his father's kingdom, and everybody lived in peace and harmony. Life they did indeed joy, but me they would never employ.
Yeah, that's right. You got a bad track record.
As far as Montapoissois.
Montapoissois. I always love the stories that end like that. And how do I know this? Because I tried to get a job there, and they wouldn't hire me.
They turned me away. They said, fuck no, monkey.
I said, no.
No monkeying
sir.
around here.
No monkeying around here. Not anymore, at least. Not anymore.
Enjoy. Well, that's all I got for you guys. Sorry.
Yeah. Hope you folks enjoyed this Italian bitches. And it was kind of fitting for the most part. I mean, I guess there weren't, you know, we had the female dog.
There's a lot of dog, man.
There's a lot of dogs, yeah.
Welcome to my Italian bitch.
Part
2.
Part 2. Yeah, hope you folks enjoyed, laughed, loved, sang along to the songs that didn't happen.
But I also need you to like share,
subscribe, share, follow.
Yes.
Yeah. Play a
thumbs
song
up.
about us on your
thumbs up,
lute.
motherfucker. Give me a thumbs up.
Give me a thumbs up. Give me 2 thumbs up.
Please.
Yeah, give me 3 if you have a third arm.
Comment for us.
Comment. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you want. What you really, really want.
I'm about to put out some fucking new shit.
Yeah, new shit's coming up. Check out our merch store. teespring.com/high mythology. Nope. I did that wrong. teespring.com/high-mythology-merch.
For real.
Yeah.
We're going to have a questionnaire for you guys soon. And
yeah, we're going to have some polls on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at HowleyBoys, HAOLE_BOYS. Get up to date on all of our stuff. Find out about our other podcasts, because we do other podcasts as well. Yeah, and videos and funny stuff. Give it a listen. Give it a like.
Buy our shit. It's cool.
Buy our shit. Tell us how much you like it. Send us pictures. Tell us to fuck off. I don't know. I don't care. We love you.
Off. That's mean.
That's mean. Don't be mean.
Don't be a Karen.
Don't be a Karen. Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Good night.